John Browning is one of, if not the most important and influential gunsmith of all time, and his advanced designs aided the United States to become the superpower on the world stage that it is today. John Moses Browning was truly a polarizing figure in the entirety of gunsmithing history. He was such a master at his craft to the point where we see countless examples of his firearms used by countries around the world. Oftentimes, these countries would use the same Browning-made weapons to wage war against each other. John Browning was one of the most inventive minds in both the 19th and 20th century. His boundless strides and technological advancements not only furthered advanced gunsmithing, but also aided the U.S. in domestic and foreign affairs. Amazingly, there has been no further major advancements since Browning's death in 1926. Popular modern brands of firearms often use the same designs that John Browning had created, like Ronnie Barrett and Gaston Glock. John Moses Browning was born in Ogden, Utah, into a Mormon family. His father, Jonathan Browning, owned and operated a gun shop. He himself was a talented gunsmith as well, with being surrounded by firearms and tools at a young age that inspired him to follow the same path. This early exposure is the main reason why Browning chose his career. Matter of fact, Browning made his first weapon when he was 13, but he didn't actually start professionally making complex designs until around 22 years old. And at 22 years old, him and his brother Matthew Browning bought the family gun store from his father in 1878. Browning's first successful design in 1885 was the single-shot Winchester Model 1885. This weapon was the first weapon made by him to ever be mass-produced in markets in the U.S. It also helped a struggling firearms manufacturer get back on their feet. The Model 1885 would start the decades-long cooperation between the Browning brothers and the Winchester Company. Browning would later create the famous Model 1886 Winchester, of which was praised by famous people like Theodore Roosevelt for its rugged and reliable design. The invention of smokeless gunpowder allowed John Browning to create much more complex designs. Due to black powder getting in the way and making quite a mess, it's hard to create such complex and small designs. With this new technology, it allowed Browning to do what he had wanted to do for quite some time, make a gas-operated system. This system both revolutionized the way people thought and utilized firearms. And around the mid-1890s is when John Browning was in a race to create the world's first automatic machine gun. Although, sadly, John Browning did not end up winning the race, and instead, Sir Hiram Maxim won. He created the Maxim MG and also other derivatives that were used in World War I. But yet, John Browning was not deterred. He wanted his machine gun to be gas-operated. Maxim's machine gun was a good machine gun, but recoil-operated, which made it slow and more cumbersome of a design. Once Browning perfected his design, he sold the rights to Colt and named it the Model 1895. He sold the rights to Colt as opposed to Winchester because Winchester was more so into lever actions and did not want to deviate, but Colt was open for anything. During around the same time, Browning became focused on a new challenge, shrinking his automatic firing system down into a pistol. Drawing from his gas-operated system, he worked on a new approach that used the force of the fired cartridge to move the slide mechanism. This, in turn, made the revolutionary design of a slide-operated pistol. One of his most successful examples is the FN Model 1900, which used a simple blow-black system combined with a moving slide. This design is a blueprint for almost every single modern pistol today. As we know, John Browning has been arming the United States since the late 1800s. His designs were so effective that many of them stayed for use decades with little need for improvement. He created for the U.S. government powerful ammunition types like 45 ACP and 50 BMG. By World War II, a huge number of U.S. weapons were based on Browning's designs. In fact, over 100 of his designs were used by the U.S. and its allies. One of his most important weapons, and one we still use today, is the M2 Browning. It gave the U.S. forces a major advantage. It fired a powerful 50 BMG round at a rapid rate, making it effective against vehicles and enemy positions. Another great weapon was the Browning Automatic Rifle, or BAR. It helped the U.S. squads move faster and fight more effectively. It was lighter and easier to handle and had reloadable box magazines. Compared to its Nazi counterpart, the MG42, which fired extremely fast, almost 1,200 rounds a minute, but it was heavy and hard to manage. Browning's designs gave U.S. troops more flexibility and balance on the battlefield. Browning's most popular design, the M1911 pistol, played a massive role in both World War I and World War II. Being such a powerful and reliable pistol, many Germans would opt away from their Luger P08s for a higher caliber M1911 and captured Belgium FN Herstal factories. In fact, the M1911 is such a good and reliable pistol that the US used it for over 100 years and is still in use today. Many German and Japanese troops did not carry as advanced weapons as the US military did. Browning's small arm designs gave the US troops a higher advantage against its Axis counterparts. John Moses Browning was one of the most influential gunsmiths to ever live, and it is easy to see why that is the case. Browning's endless work on designs truly made some of the most perfected, accurate, and reliable guns to ever exist. His influence spread far and wide to gunsmiths around the world. The United States implemented his weapons in one way or another for the past 131 years, and with great effect. Alongside the effective calibers he created, it comes to no surprise that the United States had an advantage in small arms compared to their adversaries. John Browning is one of the most polarizing figures in small arms history due to his influential and perfected designs. They have been in use for over 100 years and deliberately helped the U.S. in foreign affairs.